Seven, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to CBD Talk Podcast. Today we have episode number 93, and we are going outside of the boundaries today. We are going THC side. So, today's episode is really going to be about RSO, Rick Simpson oil, and I think it's also referred to as FECO, full extract cannabis oil. So, our guest today is Rebecca Joseph. So, Rebecca, welcome, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be on.
I'm excited to have you because I know that we have a lot of listeners that focus a lot on the CBD side, and I just kind of want to introduce them to the more of a full plant episode today.
Yeah.
And there's times where, first of all, everyone does what's best for themselves, and everyone makes their own big boy and big girl choices. CBD can help in a lot of ways. CBG, CBDA, CBN. There's tons of cannabinoids
There's
in that.
So much, and they keep,
But there are times where, you might want to work with THC as well. And Rick Simpson oil is something that gets a lot of attention. And I'm going to show you this really quick. So this is my Rick Simpson oil here that I was gifted by a fabulous friend. And so this is extracted, and it is tar, gooey, sticky stuff. But
yes, it's gooey.
Yeah, and so I've got a health issue that I'm going to be working on with that and see how that might play out for me. So how about you talk to us a little bit about, since we are talking about Rick Simpson oil,
right?
How you got introduced to it, why you use it, and just kind of take us down that road a little bit.
Okay, so I'll give you a little bit of history. At 33, I was diagnosed with stage 2 breast cancer in my left breast. And I mean, obviously, I was in shock, right? At 33, I just had my youngest son. And so the doctor had said, I found a lump. It's nothing to be concerned about. Why don't you go and get a mammogram? I think at the time it was a sonogram at the time, a regular, not even a mammogram. Go get it checked up and let's see what it is. So they first start off with like a sonogram, and then when they see something they don't like, they end up doing a mammogram because I was under 40, which I think is ridiculous. I think anyone should be able to do it, especially with the history that, if you have family history of breast cancer, you should definitely check and do your mammogram. So they did a mammogram and I went back to work. A couple of days later, they actually called me at work and told me, you have stage 2 breast cancer.
Motherfuckers, they did that at work?
Yeah, at work. I was in shock. I had to give the phone to one of my friends, and when they say the ground opens up and you fall, that's exactly how I felt. That's why I always take a second person with you. Because sometimes they say things and you don't understand what's happening because you're in shock.
Yeah.
So, you do the biopsy. I get treated in Modesto, California. I live in Modesto, and I'm put on, I do chemo. I lose my hair. I do all of that, and I'm put on tamoxifen. So for 4 years, I'm okay. Because of my cancer, I should have not been on tamoxifen. So after 4 years, it came back in my liver and in my bone. Yeah, so I had a double mastectomy. I had reconstructive surgery. I'm like, okay, it's breast cancer that's moved now into my liver and now into my bones. And it's funny because, you can't be afraid of it. The second time around, it's just like, okay, now we've got to deal with this. And the doctors come in and they're more scared to tell you that you have cancer, and they don't realize, listen, I've known. And so there was a couple of instances. It was just hilarious. The doctors were just freaking out, but you just can't be afraid of it, right? You've got to treat it as a cold.
Yeah.
So, and always do your due diligence. The doctors have so many patients. You have to do your due diligence. Get your second, get your third opinion. So I decided to go and get a second opinion at UCSF. I went there, and the first thing she told me was, you don't have to do chemo. And when she told me that, I mean, I just started crying because losing your hair and doing the chemo is just so, and in 2010, we didn't have access to cannabis.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I didn't do any of that when I was first diagnosed.
Mm-hmm.
And I was sick for days. I mean, I remember throwing up for 3 days and not eating anything. It was horrible. So fast forward, we go to UCSF, and now she's telling me you don't have to do chemo. You know, there's a ton of different other options. Well, now I decided to include CBD into it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I read so much about CBD and then heard about, you know, Jaden's journey and how much it was doing for his son, how it was helping his son. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to try it.
Mm-hmm.
And other people healing themselves with CBD.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you get cancer the second time around, it's a little harder than the first time. The first time I've seen success rates that are unbelievable. So I decided to do, and I still wasn't as educated, and I'm still, every day is an education. You learn something new every single day. I know nothing nearly than what's out there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I started taking CBD, and I never had pain. Now, mind you, I have lesions all up and down my spine,
Uh-huh.
and I never had any pain. And then that, you know, I was like, okay, so that's good. I don't have any pain. Doctors always told me, did you have any pain? Never had any pain. So I think it really helped me with the pain aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
I had horrible anxiety once they told me that I had cancer.
Mm-hmm.
This really did help me. We went into UCSF, and I did a ton of treatments at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I might have done 4 or 5 treatments, and then I stopped using the CBD. And at this point, I was not using the FECO oil,
Uh-huh.
right? And my liver was really bad. I was 40 years old. My friends and I were all turning 40, and I had to ask my doctor, listen, I have 5 trips planned, and I'm going to all of them. You need to postpone your liver surgery until I come back. Okay? There's way too many friends. They're all turning 40, and if I don't go, I'm never going to hear the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I went, you know, I traveled, I came back, and we had to do a liver. They took 20% of my liver out. We had to do a liver surgery because the treatment was just not helping. Nothing was helping. They took my gallbladder out because they couldn't get to my tumor that was in the liver. So I had gallbladders removed. I've had my ovaries removed because I have the BRCA gene.
Yeah.
You know, I found out I had the BRCA gene. I have those removed. I've had I had 20% of my liver removed, and they tested it, and my cancer now changed, and now is triple negative, the worst cancer out there. Yeah. What the heck am I going to do now? Well, the only option is chemo, and then they put this beautiful little port in you.
Mm-hmm.
Because my veins were just dying. So for about 1.5 years, for a year, I did one type of chemo, and my veins were just dying. And I did no CBD, and I did no FECO oil, also known as RSO. Then my friend introduced me to the FECO oil.
Mm-hmm.
1 year, I did 0 CBD and FECO, and my cancer got worse with the chemo.
Yeah.
The following year, I did both the RSO and the CBD. Not only did my cancer stop spreading, it was shrinking.
Nice.
Chemo is only supposed to sustain you.
Mm-hmm.
But we were able to kill these cells. And now my liver's all normal. The last scan showed 30% of a decrease in the cancer. And I have a scan in April. I want to see what it's done for my bones, because everyone says there's not much you can do for your bones.
Uh-huh.
I don't believe in that.
Yeah,
You got to be your own advocate.
exactly.
And I'm living the dream. I mean, it really works. It's just astonishing.
Oh, that's so great. And
Yeah.
so you didn't have, when you're using the CBD and the FECO, you didn't have the nausea like you did
I
the
was
first time?
mortified.
Yeah.
It was horrible. I would be in the room sweating, throwing up. I didn't eat. I lost 20 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to talk to anyone. I didn't want to even, I was just stuck in a room for a year,
Yeah.
going back and forth with my dad. My dad took me to chemo and brought me back.
And you had kids.
I had kids. At the time, my ex managed them very well.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, he managed them very well. They had softball, and I tried not to shake their world too much, because when I had first, they were young, and then now they're older, so they know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
I don't lie to them.
Yeah.
They have baseball games. Sometimes I can't get.
Mm-hmm.
They're long, and they know mommy doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
And when they see mommy feels good, she does whatever she can.
Yeah.
But it's really changed my life. I think without this, I would not. I was supposed to be dead a long time ago. I was told.
Yeah. So
Those are just.
So you didn't
Yeah.
have the nausea then when you were using the FECO?
None. Not only did I not have any nausea, I did not throw up. I was eating. I was not losing weight, because maintaining your weight is really important when you're on chemo.
Mm-hmm.
And so she would always ask me, my doctor, how are you maintaining your weight? And I told her, I'm heavily into cannabis. And she starts laughing at me. And they don't say anything to you. They don't say anything to you. They're like, okay. And they just take notes.
They're just glad that you're not losing weight.
They're just happy I'm not losing weight. And at the time we were doing the chemo, we were testing the cold caps.
Oh.
And so I was one of the guinea pigs. And there was another lady who was doing it. She was losing hair. I don't think I lost one strand of hair. And I owe it all to the cannabis, to the FEC. I mean, not one strand. And we were able to reduce it from like 90 minutes to like 60 minutes. So we saved everyone a half hour, because it's like a nightmare. You're putting negative 30 degrees caps on your head for 4 hours. Yes, it was not fun.
Wow.
Because I wanted to save the curls.
Well, and I would want to too. They look beautiful.
Listen, when you look, I went from the first time I had, chemo with no hair. And when you look decent, you feel better.
Yeah.
And I really noticed that. And that's the first thing I tell people when they call me, like, what are we going to do? I go, just don't be scared. And always make sure you stay on top of feeling and looking well. Because it really does help you mentally.
Yeah. All right. So you were blessed by a friend introducing you to the full extract cannabis oil, FECO or RSO. So,
Yep.
how long ago was that?
Long time ago. I'm going to say about 4 or 5 years ago.
Okay.
4 or 5 years ago. And I personally can just ingest it.
Mm-hmm.
I was a type, I had changed my diet and I became a vegetarian, but I always that one person that ate all the dumb stuff, like the seaweed wrap, not the dumb stuff, but the stuff that people would never eat, like the seaweed wraps or the goji berries and that. Or I would make like cookies from almond flour and I would take them to work and they'd make fun of me. I was like, okay, you'll be calling me for those almond flour cookies. But I was just one that, just ingested it. Mm-hmm. I could just eat it and it didn't bother me.
Yeah.
But there's so many ways that you can take it. You can't smoke it because it's already decarbed. So
okay,
you can't do that.
Let's talk about
it. Yeah.
And just in general, because we're going to have another episode going really deep down into creating the RSO, and we're going to film it all and everything. And so, but how about just kind of as an overview, how do you make this RSO?
So again, I am not a scientist. I am not a professional. This is something that is working for me.
Mm-hmm.
And the people who have reached out, it works for them.
Mm-hmm.
So, the way I make it is I use just flour, which is just cannabis flour that you put in. We use, some solvent. People use ethanol. They use a lot of stuff that I'm not a fan of, but I use cane spirit alcohol, organic cane spirit alcohol. And you really just let it sit, and then there's overnight, so you let it sit and have it dechlorify and have all the juices come out.
Mm-hmm.
And the next day you strain it and you put it in a machine and you basically decarb it.
Mm-hmm.
And
what does decarb mean?
Now, decarbing means I'm not 100%, I'm not a scientist, but it's taking out the CO2 out of it.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
And so that's
carbon. Yep,
that's right. And you let that just cook over for a couple of hours, and then that's what gets you the tar look.
Got it.
Right? You start off with I don't know, a gallon of salt of stuff, and you'll end up with just a little bit of tar looking substance.
So that's incredibly concentrated.
Very highly concentrated, yeah. And so when you do take it, we recommend taking a rice grain because everyone reacts to it differently. And people call it RSO because it stands for Rick Simpson oil. And Rick Simpson is from, I believe, England, from Canada. Is he from Canada? And I believe he had a mark on his face that he would put on there, and he comes to find out it was cancer, and it just took it off as his face. So that's why they call it Rick Simpson oil.
Because he was the man who created the process, or who came up with, made it popular.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. But it's fully extracted cannabis oil.
Yeah.
It's godsend. It's amazing.
When we have the next episode with Eric,
perfect.
He'll tell us all about Rick Simpson because he is a huge Rick Simpson follower. So
awesome.
We'll get all the background on that from him. So
perfect.
Okay, so then when you get the tar, then you just suck it up into a syringe?
Yes, I suck it up into a syringe because you want to try to consume 1 gram a day.
Okay, how many milliliters is a gram?
Does it say on there? I would have to check.
Because it says this is a 3 milliliter syringe.
Yes, 1 gram
would be maybe 1 mil.
Yes, it's 1 mil. Yes, so on there it tells you 1 mil, 2 mils, or 3 mils. Yes, yes.
Okay,
yes.
So 1 mil is approximately 1 gram. So
yes. Yes. 1 mil is 1 gram. Yes, that's the easiest way to say it.
Got it. Sorry.
And then they do come in. Oh, that's okay. And they come in 1 mil syringes as well. It just depends on where you get it from.
Right.
Sometimes it's easier that way.
So now when you're choosing your flower, so a lot of people can grow it, which is great in a lot of states. There are some people who are not green thumbs. And
that's
so if they go to a dispensary and buy flower, or bud, or whatever you want to call it, how much do you recommend that they buy to make this?
So measurements, it really depends on how much you want to make. I was fortunate to have a lot of organic bud given to me. Go read it. So we test it, make sure it's all organic. I honestly look at a 5-gallon container,
like a Home Depot 5-gallon,
like a
bucket.
And exactly. And I try to fill it at least halfway to full. Once you add your cane sugar to it, you literally will have 1/4 of that filled.
Okay.
For some reason, it just sinks down to the bottom, and it just compresses when you add the solvent to it.
Uh-huh.
So you could add as much flour as you want.
Okay.
When you add that solvent, it kind of subdues it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I try to make at least 30 to 40 grams off of that
Got it.
when I make it. Yeah, it depends. I'll be honest with you. I don't measure.
Okay. Yeah, you just.
I'm an eyeballer. I don't
Mhm.
measure.
Yeah.
I'm an eyeballer, and I get the same. It's like cooking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Or like
It's very much
me with making
cooking.
lasagna. It's like, throw some of this, then throw some of that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure. And because I'm so fortunate that I have, a good amount of supply, maybe if I had a small amount,
Yeah.
and eventually I will get to that, I will have more precise, I think, measurements, because now I'm having to purchase
Yeah.
the flour.
Mhm.
My goal is to make it myself, grow it myself,
Yeah.
because I take this medicine.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that I know what I'm putting in my body.
Right. And so you don't use. So you could. So you don't
So
use like leaves or anything like that.
Yes, I use all of it.
Okay. So you use all of it. Okay. Good to know.
I use all of it.
Yeah, because that's the thing
some
is
people,
that if you're talking about that much of just bud, that's like, whoosh, that can get
a
pricey.
lot.
Yeah.
That's right. That's why it's nice to, once I get to that point, I want to grow it myself, because it does get pricey.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm fortunate to live in a state where it's legal.
Colorado as well. I'm very fortunate
Right?
too. Yeah.
We're very fortunate. I went and learned how to grow it at Oaksterdam University. Shout out Oaksterdam University, because I dealt with some shady people in this business. And I guess that's what you have to go through sometimes to say, you know what, I'm just going to do this myself. So I went and learned how to grow it myself, because why shouldn't I? Why do I have to pay a third party? Why not?
Exactly.
And it's just the best way to do it. Educate yourself, learn how to make it yourself, and then you know what you're doing with it.
Well, and the other thing is that, we're talking about your health.
Yeah, it's no joke.
This isn't just like, oh, hey, I just want to get high tonight, which is fine if that's what you do. Hey, that's great. But what we're talking about is immune deficiencies, cancer, people who are taking this for their health. And if you can grow
the people that I deal with,
mm-hmm.
the people that I deal with are definitely much older, who it's all about their health. It's not, the youngsters. The youngsters, they know, it's the ones that really, really care about their health. They want help. They don't want to pop a pill.
Yeah.
This is a medicine. It's like me telling you, if someone comes and tells, and I always get this, oh my God, doesn't it make you high? It's like me telling you, stop taking your Zantac or your Xanax. Yeah. It's the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's my medicine.
Mm-hmm.
So it really is healing. My mother has fibromyalgia.
Oh.
And this woman does not smoke weed or,
Mm-hmm.
She has zero pain. And all she's doing is just CBD. Yeah. CBD lion.
Yep.
Nothing. Yep. So
I love the fact that we have choices, that we can either go with like a CBD line or other CBD, products.
There's so many,
free, all the way to, more of a full spectrum CBD, which has,
that's right.
The 0.3 industrial hemp classification.
Yep. And, I do that as well. I do all of them.
Yeah.
I have CBD oils everywhere.
Yeah. And then you can also do the stuff with high levels of THC all the way up to FECO. There are choices, and as an individual, you need to figure out what works for you.
That's right. It's what works for you. Mm-hmm. Don't be afraid of it. You will. A lot of people are like, "Well, I had such bad experiences." Well, that's what we were buying off the streets. We don't know what it was laced with. We don't know what. And I agree. There's some people who do get anxiety with it. Well, there's different types of strains.
Strains, exactly.
You take sativa. I took a sativa once. I thought I was going to have a heart attack. I'm like, what is happening to me? I didn't know. I'm like, oh my God, I think I'm going to pass out. So I went and spoke to the person at the store. I didn't know. And they're like, oh yeah, no, you shouldn't be taking sativa. I will never forget that. There's so many. I really thought, well, what is happening? Then I figured out, oh my God, it's probably a weed I'm smoking.
And see, that's the thing is that for me, I am more of a sativa person than an indica person. So,
Oh,
because indica, it just like, I just feel like I'm not even there, which is a
so
good feeling for,
listen, I do it all.
yeah.
I do a hybrid sativa.
Mm-hmm.
So I moved into the hybrids. So
Yeah.
the hybrids are a little more mellow.
Yeah.
I don't do a straight sativa anymore. I do a hybrid sativa, and then I used to do an indica.
Well, this is on the gummies that I take, that I'll take occasionally. Or
Yes.
I'll do the sativa gummy. But like, I have friends that they're about indica. It's like, that's great.
Yeah.
Whatever works for you.
Oh, I'll eat the entire refrigerator. I have to go to sleep or I will not stop eating.
Exactly.
Yeah. Hence why you maintain your weight.
Yes, exactly. So, okay. So talking specifically about Peco stuff,
Yes.
ways that you can use it.
Yes. You can ingest it, put it maybe on like applesauce or, if you don't want to eat it just raw, you could put it in a little capsule with any type of oil, coconut oil, like you said you were allergic or
Yeah, I'm allergic to coconut, so I'm going to try to get some palm oil because I understand that the medium chain triglyceride oils are good with it.
Right. It really helps. And I'll tell you another little story about this chemo pill that I'm taking right now after I tell you how I normally take this. You can also put it in your belly button.
Really?
Put a little bit of oil on a Q-tip. If you don't want to taste it, put it in your belly button.
Very fun.
You can also inject it as a suppository.
Yeah.
There's a lot of ways.
Someone's got like anal cancer or something. Great idea. So
it really is. It really is. It really helps everything. I fell one time and I got a scab, and the scab was gone within like 2 days because I would rub on it. I would put THC on it. And my doctor said, when did you fall? Because they want to make sure that the cancer is not in your brain.
Yeah.
And I fell myself. And she's like, well, why is it healing so fast? When did you fall? I go, like 2 days ago. I said, you know why. And she started laughing. I go, I put THC on it. And it really does.
Yeah.
It really goes away. Another thing, I am on this medication right now. It's called Zolota. Zolota is a chemo pill. I take 3 in the morning, 3 at night. Combination of 1,500 milligrams of chemo. 7 days on, 7 days off. I always go in when they put me on a medication. I ask them, what's the average person that has made it on? Like, what's that average rate? And I was told 6 months. I am going over a year. There is something. This is just your basic chemo pill. There's nothing special about it. There's something that's reacting with it that's making it last longer for me. She's like, I've never seen it. I'm a lot of never seen with her. A lot of number one, like, okay, I've never seen this, or this never happens, or there's a lot of those with her. And it's because, honestly, I believe it's the CBD and the oil, and obviously I take a lot of vitamins, and your diet and all that takes into effect. But I was doing all that before, and that didn't help me.
Well, and I mean, when it comes down to it, we are talking about the endocannabinoid system, and you're boosting the hell out of that endocannabinoid system.
And I'm learning more about that. I'm reading as much as that, because there's now a THCA.
Yeah, there's THCA. Yep.
There's one that's stronger that helps with the cancer. So I want to learn about that more.
Yeah, and when you're boosting your endocannabinoid system, those messages, your body is talking to itself so much more effectively, and so you're able to get those cells moving to where the white blood cells or the red blood cells or whatever it is, and also to carry that medication to where it needs to go more effectively.
It's amazing.
Yeah, you're helping to boost that balance in your system.
Yeah,
so that's a wonderful thing.
I really do think it is, because she's told me she congratulated me last year or last week. It's been a year. Congratulations, you've been on Zolota. And I'm like, Thank you. How much longer is it going to last?
Well, we'll find out, I guess.
I got 2 of my cancer markers in. They were slightly increased.
Uh-huh.
So it's probably coming to an end, but there's so much stuff out there.
Mm-hmm.
These cancer medications, I mean, they make your hand and your feet like dry up and crack. And I kind of want it to stop so that I can maybe move on to immune therapy.
Yeah.
So, and then let's try immune therapy with cannabis and RSO.
See how that works.
I can't wait to try to test that one out on myself.
Okay, so you're talking about, using it topically.
Yeah.
So I actually tried to put a little bit on my finger. It was pretty sticky. So, so I was trying to so I was able to get like some on my thyroid.
Okay.
But it just, I mean, do you ever like mix it with something to make
Yeah.
it? Okay, yeah. So tell me about that.
So, you can, I want to show you something real quick. You can mix it with, I pick coconut oil.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what it looks like right now. I use these jars. I keep all the glass jars from like yogurt jars, right?
Uh-huh, yeah.
And I keep the excess in here. And what I do is I mix some coconut oil in here. And I mean, if the weather's cold in here, I just put this jar in a little bit of water in a pot, and it becomes like it becomes very, it becomes creamy. Okay, so once it becomes like creamy, like a lotion, you just take it up, you just dip your finger in it, and then that's when you could topically put it.
Got it. Okay.
It depends on the consistency, right? You need it to have it dark and tarry.
Mm-hmm.
You can't put it on yourself like that because it kind of just
it just kind of
gets
globs
everywhere.
Yeah.
Exactly. So mix it with something, anything, any oil. Put some CBD oil that has no THC in it.
Mm-hmm.
And just mix it with that and just rub it everywhere. My son has a sty.
Mm-hmm.
I started they gave him a 10 days antibiotics. I know they're not going to work.
No.
It's been 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I started putting CBD on it and it started to pop.
Good. I just don't know if I ever heard of someone, because I had styes when I was a kid and I actually had to have some surgically removed. They never gave me antibiotics for a sty.
Unreal.
They give you antibiotics for everything
it's a joke. It's a joke. You have to do your own research. I swear to you. But yeah, see, like this one. It's it's like dried up. But what you need to do is just warm it up a little bit,
and
it's all done.
Good to know.
Yeah, I make these little jars for myself, and then every time someone comes to me and says, "Oh, my knee hurts," come here. I went all the way to New York to put some CBD on my aunt's knee. She just had surgery, and she's like, "Oh, it doesn't hurt as much." I go, "But you've got to be consistent with it because it's natural."
Yeah, it is.
Some people will take it for 2 days, and I don't feel anything. Well, it's natural. It's not man-made.
Well, and a lot of and that's where, I mean, we've had episodes where we've talked about this before. So there was this one company, and I had a I think it was Janet Wood, who writes for Leafly, and she did an article on this guy or this company, and kind of like it was in the northern end, like Michigan, Minnesota, something up there, someplace up there. And this company had put cough syrup in their CBD, a component of cough syrup in there. Did not put it on the label, but they wanted to put that in there so that people would feel something when they took it.
That's right.
Yeah.
Because when you take CBD with no THC, you don't feel anything, and you're not supposed to.
Yeah.
It's hemp.
What you end up feeling is the lack of symptoms, and that doesn't come on to you. It just, you just kind of, they start going away, and then a week later, and you're like, oh, it's not doing anything. You stop taking it, and then all of a sudden, your symptoms come back, and you're like, oh, it was doing something.
Right. It's every day. It is a vitamin.
Yeah.
You have to take it. I take like 10 to 15 vitamins a day. That's one of them.
Yeah.
I have one in my room. I have two sitting here. It's my vitamin.
Yeah. It's
We don't spend them on cigarettes and wine anymore. Now it's vitamins and CBD.
Gotta get
How
those
life
herbs in.
changes after cancer.
Well, get those herbs in, make your body
Yes.
happy. So
Yes, you got to get them in.
yeah, and okay, so do you have like a favorite strain or something?
So for me, I love a nice do-si-do.
Okay,
And it's an
nice.
indica. But this particular flower is mostly indica.
Mm-hmm.
You want indica because that's where you get your THC, your high levels of THC. And I'm finding that there's a lot of sativas now with high THCs, but
Just because of the way they're breeding.
I think it's the way they're breeding it, because when I compare it, I'm like, oh, well, this one has but yeah, it's mostly indica.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because you want that mellow. And a lot of people take this to calm them down and go to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people also take this because they want to eat.
Yes.
It will help you eat.
Yes.
It will help you sleep. A couple of other things, like I mentioned, I did smoke cigarettes in the past. Once I started taking this, it stopped my cravings for cigarettes.
Yes.
I always told my doctor, I don't know if you've heard about the opiates too. I've heard about opiates, helping people get off of opiates.
Yes.
I myself have not experienced it or been around someone, but I've read about the opiate situation.
Yeah.
The cigarette, I myself used to smoke 2 cigarettes a day because I had gone from 5 to 2, and I told my doctor, just leave me alone. Once I stop, I'll stop. She's like, okay. And there was a moment where I took my last puff and I was like, ooh, it's nasty. I stopped smoking cigarettes.
That's a beautiful thing.
It was amazing. It was amazing. It was just amazing.
Yeah,
so
cannabis and CBD and all the different cannabinoids in it. It's
not addictive. It's
Yeah.
not. It's gone 3 days and not even thought about it because I didn't have it with me. And I get more anxiety knowing my anxiety medication isn't there.
And there are a lot of ways to take it. Like you said, you can just put it in your mouth. You can mix it with something. You can put it in a capsule. You can use it topically, and then with other cannabinoids, you've got tinctures, you've got vapes, you've got gummies, you've got lotions, patches, everything. So many different things. So
we're so lucky. We are so lucky to have options. Like,
yes,
I do both. I do Western medicine, but I also incorporate this type of stuff into my
and it's
my
made
daily
a
life.
huge difference.
Huge difference.
You've got your hair. You're not throwing up. You're not spending your life in bed.
No, I'm eating.
Have a life.
I have a life.
Yeah.
And so every time I would go to UC, I used to go to UC. I go to UCSF. They're the best over there. And I'd go sit there and do my chemo. And anyone I spoke to, are you smoking weed? They'd be like, what do you mean? I'm like, why are you sick? Why do you do this? And I would sit there and promote it and promote it and promote it. And they would come back and say, thank you.
Yeah. And smoking
Why suffer?
Yeah, that's the easiest way for people to, it's not cooking it, it's not doing this, it's not doing that, it's just smoking it. It's fast and easy. And
I'll be honest with you. When I smoke these oils compared to the flower, the flower is what takes away my nausea.
Oh, good to know. So just like a joint.
Nice joint. Roll up a joint, take out your pipe. It's that, I don't know what it is, but it's the flower that takes away my nausea.
Yeah. And
I could smoke these
people need to
all
figure
day.
out what works for them. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. Good old joint. Took it away. And I'm like, wish this was available for me 10 years ago, because I was dying.
Yeah.
Not eating for 3 days.
Yeah.
It was a nightmare.
Nausea is a terrible thing.
Oh, I hate it.
Yeah. I am not a friend. No. So if someone's out there and tries it,
yes.
So I want to let you know that. So I did try it earlier this week, and I didn't have capsules or anything like that, so I just took some, just a little dot between my gum and my cheek, and went to bed. And I woke up feeling nauseous and with a headache, and it's probably because I took too much, even though I just took a little dot. So if you do that, if you wake up and you're not feeling well, what I did is I took some CBD,
Yes.
so, which
Yes.
helped, and an Excedrin. Um,
That,
so just next time, take less. And even though I
yes.
only took a very small amount, I will be taking less. Also, I'm going to be doing a different way because that's pretty direct. When you just
Very
stick
direct.
it there, I mean, that's about as, yeah, that's really direct. So I'm going to try it again with some oil, with some palm oil
Yeah.
in a capsule,
Mhm. Yes.
and so that it's not so like in your face.
Concentrated.
Yeah. So I'm going to
Yeah.
dilute
And
it.
when
So
you rub something in your mouth, it goes straight into your blood
yeah.
stream. So that's why edibles are so careful with edibles. Especially with this as well. So that's why they say a rice grain. And sometimes a rice grain is a lot for people.
Yeah. And
You
and
just have
I,
to be careful.
I know I'm a weenie because even with like if I occasionally will take an edible, a 10 milligram edible, I have to cut it in half or I'll get a headache. So that
Got it.
that's me, lightweight.
Yes.
That's
And
all.
I wake up, I've been doing this for years, and there's times where it takes me a while to wake up in the morning
Mm-hmm.
because that's one of the things with THC, with high levels of THC. You've got to make sure your blood pressure, because some of the things I've read about, it can lower your blood pressure. So
Mm-hmm.
make sure. I have very low blood pressure.
Mm-hmm.
And I sometimes can tell in the morning, like, okay, I took way too much.
Yeah.
Or sometimes it takes me an extra half hour to wake up because it's in your body. Now, the good thing about that is the more you take, the faster your body absorbs it, and the faster your body adapts
Yeah.
to it. To the point where when you do take a gram, you will not feel that way.
I gotta tell you, slept like a rock.
Rock.
Great night of sleep.
Great night of sleep. No pain.
Yeah. No pain.
No pain. Yeah. And your body gets, again, it's something new. Like, whoa, what is this magic you're putting into me?
And I have to tell you, because I've been waking up a lot lately because of hot flashes.
Yes.
I
I feel you.
did not wake up with one hot flash. It was,
It really helps.
yeah.
It really helps. It really, I mean, all these researchers are going to be done on, PTSD and Alzheimer's
Yeah.
and all this.
And now that we can, now that it's not a Schedule One drug anymore, even to CBD, but so yeah, I am so excited and cannot wait to get more people on here that are in the process of doing studies. I'm very excited about that, and I actually had someone who contacted me that's working on a study right now that we're going to get on the show soon because
Awesome.
the science of it is so amazing, and we are just at the beginning. We are
Beginning.
so new into the studies and everything. There's so much to learn. There's 100+ cannabinoids. There's
No.
terpenes. There's a combination of
No.
the different cannabinoids. I mean, isolates are not the number one thing. It's using them in conjunction with each other that's
right.
so exciting.
It's so exciting, and I just can't wait. I can't wait to educate myself further as I learn about this, and I'm just so excited. Like I'm just so passionate about it because it really saved my life.
Yeah. So
And
if someone wanted to contact you with questions,
I could give you my email address.
what's the email address? And we'll put it in the show notes as well. But sometimes some of the podcast players, it's hard to see the show notes. So
Sure.
also you can go to the YouTube one. YouTube, it's a little easier to find show notes in there. But so let's go ahead and give it out right now.
Okay, it's REBEJO 77 at gmail.com. It's RebeJo 77 at gmail.com.
Beautiful. So you guys, if you have questions, reach out to Rebecca. Ask her.
Yeah.
She's got a wealth of information.
I've gone through this for 10 years and I feel like I was a guinea pig for everyone out there for 10 years, happily to do it. I'm happy to do it.
Yeah.
I don't want people to suffer like I did.
Yeah.
You
Exactly.
don't need to. You really don't need to.
Yeah.
So that's the goal.
That is a goal, and that's a beautiful goal to have. So, all right. Well, thank you very much for
Thank you,
sharing
Dawn.
your information with us and different ways
Absolutely.
we can use RSO and how it's helped you. And we will
Yeah.
be having an episode on how to make RSO very soon, or FECO, full FECO.
Yep.
So, and of course, we'll always be talking about CBD.
Always. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you. All right. Have a great day. And everyone else,
You too.
stay happy and stay healthy.
Bye.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.